Hello again and welcome back. Today I have yet another exclusive from Mattel Creations. This time it's the 40th anniversary Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man and Skeletor 2-pack. That is quite the title. So I got this from Mattel Creations. I paid the $80 that they were asking, and believe it or not, I only paid $7.97 shipping all the way to Australia. No idea why it was so cheap, but there you go. It's usually pretty cheap, around $15, but that's particularly cheap for such a big box. Maybe they know that I'm a recidivist, I keep coming back, and they thought they'd cut me some slack. Highly unlikely, but who knows. So like all the Masters of the Universe items we get from Mattel Creations, it comes in this really nice shipper box. A huge 40th anniversary on the front there, Masters of the Universe. And then on the side, if I can get that in shot, it's the Power Sword with He-Man. And then on this side, it is Skeletor's Havoc Staff. There we go, it's a slightly better view. On the top, Masters of the Universe, and then just some legal fluff on the bottom. But then on the reverse, this is really nice. Masters of the Universe, He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, standing 7¼ inches or 18.6 centimeters. And then Skeletor, the exact same size. Oh no, sorry, no, Evil or Destruction, 7 inches, 17.9 centimeters tall, so just slightly smaller. And then in the middle, I didn't know that it came with this, the Ring of Absolute Power, the Artifact of Invincibility. That's probably going to stay in the box. So let's open it up, do my very best here. It is going to be a struggle. My light box is relatively small. Yeah, I'll just take it out of shot for a sec. Okay, here we are. They really go all out with these exclusives, and I'm all for that. It really is a beautiful box design. It has this embossed crest on the front, and then I think it opens, yep, it opens from the center. But let's just take a quick look at the back. So again, on the back, the 40th anniversary logo. So let's open this up. Oh, and there we are. Really nice. The Masterverse, the mightiest battle in the universe. For 40 years, the almighty He-Man and evil sorcerer Skeletor have been locked in an epic battle for the power of Grayskull to determine who truly is the master of the universe. Has it really been 40 years? Gosh. So here we are, He-Man on the left and Skeletor on the right. It's such a huge box. So remove this panel. And then underneath, look at that. Have this really nice display. It's almost too nice to take them out. Now I did pick up the standard edition He-Man in the Masterverse line, or rather the 40th anniversary Masterverse. So I will do a comparison, but this one, he has some differences. All of the accessories, or rather all of the weapons, are die-cast, but this is the first time I've seen Skeletor, the retro Skeletor, in this scale. So I'll take them out and we'll have a closer look. Okay, so here they are out of the box with all their accessories. Now, if you're familiar with the Masterverse line, then you'll know that getting them out of their clamshells is a total bitch. They come in something like this, and that's fine, but the issue are these horrible clothes tags that they use, these plastic clothes tags. They suck. They're too tight to cut, and when you pull them, they just stretch. So Took me a while to get them out, but anyway, here they are, and they do look great, but I've got some issues, and I'll tell you what they are in a moment. But first of all, let's take a look at the accessories. So slight correction to my introduction, not all the accessories are die-cast. I thought that they were, but the Havoc staff, Skeletor's Havoc staff, the actual staff itself, and the ram horns are plastic. Only the skull, so just this portion here, only that portion there is die-cast. And I guess they did that so it's easier to put in his hand, but that's an issue that I have, and I'll get to that in a moment. The sword, however, is nice. It is complete die-cast. So it has some weight to it, and it has a very nice finish. Skeletor also comes with a left clawing hand or open hand, and a right fisted hand. They also come with these two comics, so King of Castle Grayskull. Now these are nice, I have to say these are nice. It's the vintage artwork, and it really takes me back looking at this. And here is the other one, He-Man and the Power Sword. Again, all that vintage artwork from the 80s, really, really beautiful artwork. So those are nice, and this is what makes it a collector's item, I guess, small touches like that. And then just quickly, when it comes to He-Man, all of his accessories are die-cast, so starting off with the shield. Mine does have a scuff on the orange paint apps here. And then the back isn't die-cast, you'd need it to have some flex so you can get it on the figure, so that makes sense, but everything else is die. His battle axe, completely die-cast. And then likewise for the power sword. And I'm really pleased that they actually included full power swords and not the half power swords. I was never really a fan of that, so nice that they've given us the full version. He also comes with two hands, a left open hand, and then a right fisted hand, which sucks, and I'll get to that in a minute. You also get this die-cast ring. I don't know why this is a thing, I don't know why this exists. I guess it's nice to have something extra in there, but to me it's just a bit weird. It has this articulated plate at the front, so it just opens up and you get the 40th anniversary symbol in there. At first I thought it had a battery or something, so it lighted up the eyes, but this is just plastic. I mean, I guess it's kind of nice, but for me it's just going to stay in the box and do nothing. If you have big fat hands like I do, just be cautious, because I popped this on my finger and I couldn't get it off. It really hurt trying to get it off. So yeah, this is just going to stay in the box. Okay, so let's start off with my gripes with Skeletor. The figure is nice, it's very, very nice, and to have what is essentially a vintage figure in this scale is a first. We haven't really had a Skeletor like this, not something as akin to the original vintage Skeletor from the 80s in this scale. There are the classics, and we do have the Masterverse, but they are several different versions. There's the Netflix He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Skeletor, which is the little mini legs and the big torso, and then you've got the Masterverse Revelations version, which I don't really like. Anyway, my point is, this is a very, very nice figure. However, the Havoc staff, and this is not exclusive to this version of Skeletor, because I do have, I think it's Viking Skeletor or Barbarian Skeletor from the New Eternia Masterverse wave, and it's the same issue. You can get the Havoc staff in his hand perfectly fine. It is a little bit tight, and I guess that's why they didn't have it as die-cast. There we go. So it does get in there, but it's just ever so slightly too small. I don't know if it's just me, but I want to have him with the staff touching the floor, so he's actually got it, he's holding it and it's touching the floor, but you can't. And because of this piece here, he can't really hold it any further up. So that's a minor gripe that I have. But that aside, The figure is really well done. The head sculpt is very, very nice. A lot of depth to it, a lot of detail to it. They've gone that extra mile with the paint apps. The eyes, they're sunk in, but they have this black outer line. You can't really get it on the camera, but it has the red pupil and then the black. But another issue I have, the jaw is articulated, but I don't know if it's just my figure, it's far too loose. So you can close it, but it ain't staying closed. So I don't know if that's poor design or just bad luck on my part, but that's a problem for me, because I don't like the open mouth look. I guess I could glue it, but then it's going to ruin the figure, so that is a problem, and it's a shame. However, everything else is very, very nice. The armor is completely removable. He has the sheath on the back, or rather the belt on the back, so you can get his sword in there. And this is really well done. So you can see that I think it was originally black underneath, and they've then given it this very, very thorough dry brush with the purple. At least that's how it looks to me, because it has two tones to it, and it really accentuates the color. It looks really, really cool. Same with the hood. The hood just has this extra level of detail to it, a nice level of depth to it. You can see there the black and then the lighter tones of purple. So very well done. And that's not just with the armor. The buck as well is the same. It has two, possibly even three different tones of blue. So it emphasizes the muscles, and it just makes it look much more, I guess, it's a higher quality. So you can just see here on the abs, it's darker in the middle. So that is nicely done. The belt is also completely removable. And then underneath, he just has the standard loincloth. It's just complete matte black. But you can remove this so you can have the, I was going to say the old look, but I guess this is the old look because that's what he had with the original figure, I guess. Pretty sure he did. And then the boots as well. They have the same dark undertone and then the light purple on the top. So it is very, very nicely done. Just those minor gripes that I have. And then in terms of articulation, so these figures are fully articulated. They do have a few issues, but not many. One of the issues that they do have is the torso, and I'll get to that in a minute. But in terms of the head, he's on a ball joint, so you can get a bit of up and a bit of down, not much, but you get full rotation. You have a full butterfly joint at the shoulder, biceps swivel, double jointed elbow, forwards and backwards at the wrist, and then you can completely remove it because they are interchangeable with the other hands. Nice thing about this book is they've hidden the cut. I don't know if that was a happy accident or by design, but you do have the cut there, so he gets a little bit of ab crunch, not much, a little bit of back, but it's completely hidden by the armor and the back as well. And then here is my issue. You do get rotation at the waist, but it's rather unsightly. Not a fan of that. I wish they would have rounded it off a little bit. Not a big deal. I'm not really going to have him doing anything other than just standing there on the shelf, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. Also, not so much with this one, but definitely with He-Man. The legs, they have a cut at the thigh, and he gets all the way out, and he does go forward and backwards, but it's restricted by this loincloth, which is a tough plastic. He-Man's is worse, and we'll get to that in a minute. But double jointed knee, a boot cut, and then a ankle rocker. Very stiff, there we go. So overall, Skeletor is a nice figure. Okay, so now let's take a look at He-Man. So again, he has this two-tone to the body, very nicely done. You see the darker tones there in the abs and some of the lighter tones around the shoulders. So that is nice. The head sculpt is really, really well done. They've kept true to that original vintage sculpt. It could even be the exact same sculpt. They've just emphasized the features with some paint apps. And they've given the hair a darker look, a nice wash over it. The armor is a little bit more of a metallic than the flat grey that we've seen with the previous version, and this is completely removable. And it also has a sheath there for his sword. In terms of the articulation, it's exactly the same as Skeletor. However, I do have a major gripe with the extra hands, and I'll get to that in a minute, but just very quickly, the difference is here, and I will do a comparison in a moment, the loincloth. This loincloth is like this flocked material. I don't like it. I didn't like it when I saw the photographs, and I don't like it in hand. It just feels weird, and it looks weird. I know what they've done. They've tried to go for a more realistic look, or set it aside from the other 40th anniversary edition, but for me it just doesn't work. And the same with the tops of the boots. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I know many people probably are going to be a fan, but for me, I just don't quite like it. Anyway, here is my major grumble. So here are the extra hands that you get with He-Man. Now note the difference in the peg sizes. I mean, let's take out the right hand and then try and put in the replacement right hand. You blew it, Mattel. What is this? This is garbage. I don't know if they're all like this. If you've got one it's like this, please let me know, because this just straight up sucks. I wouldn't have minded too much if it was this hand. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind if it was that hand. But I was probably going to display him with the fisted hand, and now I can't. Oh, it's stuck in there. But yeah, look. If you really push it in, but that's literally just because it's wedged in, but it's not going in. That is just total garbage. Yeah, that is a big shame. Okay, so before I write my disgruntled letter to the jerks at Mattel, let's run a quick comparison. So on the right is the Mattel Creations version, and on the left is the stock standard 40th anniversary edition. So as you can tell, the figures are identical. The bucks are the same, the sculpts are the same, everything is the same with a few exceptions. The main one being the loincloth is flocked and the boot tops are flocked here. This is just straightforward plastic with that black wash, but in my opinion, it's just better. I much prefer this. It just seems to suit the look of the figure more than this one does. Also, the armor. Now, this is a bit better on this one, in my opinion. I do prefer the gunmetal look to it, as opposed to the flat grey. The head sculpts are pretty much the same. It does look like this one has some slightly better paint applications, but they're so subtle it could just be the look of the draw with the figures. I'm not 100%. And then the only other variations are obviously the weapons. Having the die-cast weapons is a big plus. This is something that I said they should have done with the 40th anniversary Origins He-Man 4-pack. It would have been nice if we had, instead of VAC metal accessories, die-cast accessories, but it wasn't to be. So these are a plus. So there you go. In my opinion, I do think that this is the superior figure. Apart from the armor, everything else here is much nicer. The articulation is the exact same, the sculpt is the same, the paint apps are the same. I prefer the loincloth on this one and the boots on this one. This one is cheaper and easier to get than this one. I actually had this guy on pre-order with Big Bad Toy Store, and then when these came along I cancelled that pre-order, but then I saw him in my local toy store and he was only $30, and it was an impulse buy. I just had to get him, and I did. But I would say this is the better figure. Okay, so my final thoughts on the Masterverse He-Man and Skeletor 40th Anniversary 2-pack. Unfortunately, I do have some major gripes here, as you've no doubt picked up from the review. There is a lot to like here, don't get me wrong. The figures are very nice, they're very well done. The die-cast accessories are a nice touch. I really like the mini comics. The ring it's nice to have, but me personally, not interested in it. It's going to sit in the box. But the big problem I have are those QC issues. I mentioned the Havoc staff not being long enough, but it's not really a big gripe because the figures just are as they are. But when it comes to that hand for He-Man, that is a QC issue that shouldn't happen for what is essentially a mail away exclusive. That's the sort of shit that you get when you pick up a figure in the store and you just take it back. That's not the case here. I'm going to struggle to get that replaced, and it's a huge disappointment. But overall, the figures are very, very nice, and let's face it, they're not massively overpriced. At $80, you get a nice exclusive box, and you do get 2 figures. I just hope that they don't release, and this does sound selfish, they don't release Skeletor as they did He-Man, because then that renders this whole 2-pack somewhat redundant. If you can just walk into a shop and get Skeletor in this edition, probably with plastic accessories and not the die-cast figures, for $30, then what was the point of this 2-pack? But that being said, Mattel are going to capitalise, so I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. Anyway, so that about wraps up the video. I certainly hope that you've enjoyed it, and if you like my content, then please do consider subscribing. And until next time, take care.